Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And let's crack on with today's first story, which comes from the Am I Wrong subreddit from a throwaway account and says, am I the arsehole for dating a guy I told my ex not to worry about? So 3 months ago, I, 21 female, went out to a club as it was student night, which means £2.50 drinks. I went out with a big group of girls. While out, I met a M23 male. I don't remember exactly how or why we started talking, but he was talking to me and my friend. And while we were talking, he realized his friend had walked off. So me and my friend told him to stay with us and hang out. We ended up spending the rest of our time there with him, and though he was talking to my friend too, me and him really clicked well. We were both in relationships though and made it clear this wasn't some hookup thing, even showing each other pics of our partners. But as the night went on and we got drunker, I admit, it sort of felt like our interactions did sort of border on flirty. Some examples are, 1. If we're walking through our crowded area, we would hold hands so we didn't get separated. 2. I danced with him a lot again holding hands. No grinding or anything. 3. I did hug him a lot, and at one point he picked me up during a hug and I wrapped my legs around him, and this caused my skirt to roll up, and he rolled it back down for me when he put me down. 4. I pretended to be his girlfriend to get rid of a girl who was pestering him by saying, "Could you not flirt with my boyfriend?" and kissing him on the cheek, and then like holding on to his. 5. At the end of the night when I had to leave, I hugged him goodbye, and we sort of accidentally kissed. By that I mean we both tried to kiss each other on the cheek at the same time and our lips touched. This was an accident and we both apologized and it was awkward. The week after, me and him ended up texting quite regularly, and we arranged, it was my idea, to have both of our friend groups meet so we could hang out again. And we had good chemistry, so we thought our friends probably would too. Well, it went great, and now our friend groups are mixed and I have a bunch of new friends. 2 of his friends have ended up dating 2 of my friends. One of them even being boyfriend and girlfriend. Unfortunately though, my boyfriend was less than happy about M. He didn't like that we text. He hated the story of how we met, which I got, as I can see from the outside it looks sus, even though our intentions were innocent. I did introduce the 2 of them. They seemed to get on well and were laughing around together, but then later that night my boyfriend started slagging him off for no reason, which caused me to argue because he was being fake. About 2 weeks ago, M broke up with his girlfriend. I'm not sure the exact details. I think they just sort of fizzled out due to being at different stages in life. She wanted kids, he wasn't ready. When my boyfriend found out, he told me he didn't want me to text or be friends with him anymore, as he was now single. I said I'm not going to cut him off when he's going through a hard time, and that the idea that I now all of a sudden can't be friends with someone just because they are single is ridiculous. My boyfriend wouldn't accept that and said if I carried on being friends with him, he would break up with me. So I broke up with him then and there, as I was tired of him acting jealous and controlling. On Thursday, I got a text from my friend who was in a relationship with one of M's friends. She said her and my other friend, who's dating one of his friends, were going to London on Friday for a trip, and asked if me and M wanted to come. I texted him and he said his friend had asked the same question, and we both agreed to go. When we got there, things were different than I anticipated, and it definitely felt like a triple date. We did mini golf and then went to food in a cocktail bar, and at the end of the night we decided to stay in London, as we didn't manage to fit everything we wanted to do. We all got hotel rooms and me and M got one too, with 2 beds in the room. However, we ended up sharing a bed and making out a bit. The next day we went out to Camden Food Market and then to Babylon Park, a giant arcade. We decided to stay another night, and this time me and M had to get a room with 1 bed as there was no double rooms. We went to a club and then back to the room. I ended up giving him head, but that was it. The next morning I woke up to like 50 messages from my ex calling me a liar and a cheat, saying he knew that I was away on a triple date. I told him I was single and could do what I want. He kept accusing me of cheating with M, saying it's weird after a 3-year relationship for me to move on in 2 weeks with a guy we had fought about and who I said wasn't a problem. I told him M wasn't the problem, he was the problem, and that if he hadn't been so jealous, none of this would have happened. He kept accusing me of gaslighting him and just being dramatic, so I blocked him. I told M and the two couples we were with that they said he was just being pathetic and that everything was above board. But some of our other friends say I'm wrong for moving on so soon and with M. Am I? Now part of me was questioning, did you really tell him the full truth about what happened on that night out? About that you was holding hands, that you were hugging a lot, which was your words, and at one point you had your legs wrapped around him, pretending to be his girlfriend. Did you really go back and was that honest about it with him? And he was just like, yeah, that's alright. Because Zorn flies in and says, yeah, you're obviously the arsehole. You cheated on your boyfriend with a stranger at the club, then prioritized this stranger over your boyfriend. Hope your ex finds someone that respects him. Dependent ad says, the amount of excuses you come up with is hilarious. You're trying so hard to cope. Make it seem like everything you did was acceptable and that you are a saint. You held hands, flirted, and kissed a dude. No amount of but, so the reason why I did this was but, is going to justify those actions. You cheated on your ex. Even if you stayed with your ex, it was only going to be a matter of time before you sleep with this other dude. Be honest with yourself. You are wrong. You're the arsehole and you're a cheater. Opie says my ex agreed it wasn't cheating when I told him everything. Cheating is a boundary decided by people in the relationship. Your opinion on it is irrelevant. If you would consider it cheating for you, that's fine. That's your right. He didn't though. So you're wrong to project that into this. Solid Hospital says if you're not guilty of being the arsehole, you wouldn't write such a long essay to justify your actions. And Opie says it's called providing context. If I wanted to try and paint myself as completely right, I would have cut out how we met, as I know it provides context. Just because you struggle to read 5 paragraphs doesn't make it an essay. To which Solid replies saying your conscience is eating you up, that's why you're seeking validation in hopes that people say no. Which Opie says, nah, I literally don't care about my ex at all. I'm trying to get outside opinions from my friend's perspective and practice what to say to them, which is why I'm replying to a lot, because the more you guys ask questions and I answer, the more I can be prepared to answer my friend's questions. Someone says that you don't give a crap about outside opinions, and Opie says, nah, if I wanted validation, I'd have left out the top half about how we met and acted like the night we met 99% of the comments would all be, yes queen. Like I said, this is just to help me be firm in my answers to my friends, and maybe open my eyes to something I haven't considered. And I think it's fair to say the majority of the comments were saying you're the arsehole. A lot of people saying, you know, what you did was monkey branching or emotionally cheating. Opie was adamant they weren't cheating at all and they continued to argue all the way through the comments. But Opie does update the post and says, so yesterday me and M went for a late meal, like 8 p.m-ish, and had a talk. We agreed that we both really like each other and we want to give it a shot, so we've decided to be exclusive while we see where this goes. He stayed around mine last night and I did sleep with him. It was amazing. I was seriously happy and excited for the future. Afterwards, we spontaneously booked a holiday to Cyprus, just the two of us, and we leave on Monday. He is half Greek Cypriot, half Jamaican, and has a villa out there, so we just needed flights. As for my two friends who thought I should have waited, I drafted a text with the help from a user in DMs and sent it to them both in group chat. It says, "Hi girls, I know you've been disappointed in my actions and feel like it was a bad look to move on so quickly. I know you care deeply about me and just want what's best for me and for me to make good decisions for myself. I do feel like I want to clear up what happened a little / my thought process. What you need to understand is, in the moment of the ultimatum, I saw two paths ahead of me. One where I spend the rest of my 20s in Jay's bedroom, watching him smoke weed and play Xbox, begging him to go on a date, and only getting attention when he wants sex. Then I saw one where I stayed friends with M, and we all got to hang out as a big group, and go to events, go play golf, go on our holidays, etc. I knew then and there that the relationship was done. I didn't just choose M over J, I chose this life, where we all get to hang out together and actually live and have fun, versus just me and Jay sitting in and doing nothing all the time. It wasn't just a choice between M and J, it was a choice of all of you, and the life we've built these last few months versus Jay. As for how quickly I moved on, you both know I'd been unhappy for a long time, and there was only so long that I could beg for him to change before giving up. To you, it might seem like I lost feelings for him overnight, but truthfully, this has been building since the start of this year. I've begged, pleaded, cried for him to change, and unfortunately he never did. All he ever wanted to do was smoke weed and that was it. By the time he threatened to end it, I'd already mourned the relationship 100 times. He'd already spent all my tears. It already drained me emotionally and I had no more emotions left to give him. Breaking up with him wasn't heartbreaking, it was liberating. That is why I did not feel the need to wait. I love you both so much, and I hope you can be happy for me, but if not, that is your decision. My friends replied and said they know that I was unhappy, and that they think I made the right decision, and that they're happy for me. They said sorry for coming across as judgmental, and that it wasn't their intention, and they were just worried I was making a rash decision. We're all meeting tonight, just us girls, and we're going out for a meal and some drinks, and put this all behind us for good. Then I'll be going to M's for the first time to meet his parents, which I'm excited about. My ex is staying blocked, and I doubt I'll ever see or hear from him again, as he never leaves his room, so that is the end of that. I'm closing that miserable chapter of my life for good. Thank you to everyone who gave me helpful advice, and thank you to a user who DM'd me and helped me draft the message, and thank you to even all the haters who helped me practice fleshing out my beliefs and reasoning and defending my actions. Without you, I wouldn't have found the words for that text. I doubt I'll use this account again, as I got what I wanted from it. Goodbye, Reddit. And most of the comments were still coming down on OP, obviously about the emotional cheating and, trying to justify her actions by calling him a shitty boyfriend and that she should have just, broke up with him before if she was unhappy all this time. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to a different subreddit. Someone in the comments said, oh, is there any chance you would do a little petty revenge story? And I thought, oh, okay, why not? We haven't been there in a while. So over at Petty Revenge from One Art Please, who says, I ruined my co-worker's first chance at a vacation in 3 years. My co-worker and I share a space. She's been there for 3 years, myself 5 months. She is not my boss, but constantly looks over my shoulder, telling me how to change my work. She is rude to people we work with overseas online. She does it all on the speakerphone and ignores me when I ask her to use a headset when she yells at them. She talks about her stomach problems and her issues pooping. When I ask her not to, she tells me to get over it. If another coworker comes to speak to me, she answers for me and over me. She also swears at her computer, verbally responding to emails she doesn't like, talks over her breath while reading her work constantly. I told her many times to please stop, and she got pissed saying she doesn't jump to my tune, and complains of having to walk on eggshells around me, as she isn't accustomed to modifying her behavior for anyone. The company is tiny, the owner insanely, pitifully cheap, so I'm the person in years that is able to cover her work. She is desperate for vacation and recently booked a long trip to Hong Kong for 2.5 weeks. She doesn't know yet I was recently offered a way better full-time job through someone I've worked freelance for in the past. My freelancer is understanding if I was to wait a bit before I end my current employment, as my co-worker's holiday is in 2 weeks. But I think I'll give my notice early. Our boss is a huge arsehole and my co-worker hates his guts, and it should be an interesting fallout. If she goes on holiday and there is no one else who can do her job, she will have a total meltdown. So a lot of the comments were just like, we need an update on this. What the hell happened? So OP did come in and said, update. Apologies for the delay. There was some job offer finalizing stuff I had to wait for before I could do anything. So my awful coworker has been in a great mood the last few weeks and obsessively setting me up to take over her projects for the next 3 weeks, which I'm dutifully doing. She also clogged the workplace toilet, denied she did it, and left it before leaving on Wednesday. Today is Friday, and told me to get the cleaners to deal with it today. Thought you guys would enjoy that bit. I received my official job offer, coincidentally an hour before she left. I told her I was leaving, and she does understand because this place sucked. I told her I'd do my best for her during her holiday and make sure all is okay. Then I went and told the owner. He laughed at me and said he would talk to me the next day. Yesterday. So yesterday he goes into this whole thing about how when he hired me, he contacted my references. I didn't give him any, and they all told him to watch out for me, and that he was gracious enough to give me a chance because it's very hard out there right now, and I should relax and wait a few months so he could give me a raise. Just be patient. I realized he thought I was bluffing. I said repeatedly that I have a job offer and I was accepting it, and I would do my due diligence not to screw over my co-worker and VP of sales to cover the project so we don't mess up the multi-million-dollar order. The owner just kind of shrugged because he'd be happy to cut off his nose to spite his face. Today, Friday, I saw him interviewing someone for my job. Yesterday at 4 p.m, we had the above convo, and at 10 a.m. today, they were interviewing. I'm in a small industry that's going through hard times. I'm going to get into something tangibly related, but not the same. So I guess it doesn't take long to find someone. So he just called me into his office a half hour ago and told me to leave. So I said, okay, and grabbed my stuff. Where I live, he'll have to pay me out for an additional week by law for letting me go before I officially leave. I don't care. I'd like a break before the new job starts, and I'll be paid 80% more anyway when it does. So maybe the petty revenge wasn't by me for my coworker. It was by my owner/boss towards her, the shitty coworker. The boss also hates, but is forced to keep because she knows everything about her job and accepts terrible pay. Good luck with the project. The VP of sales doesn't understand how the approvals work for this gig. Hopes something messes up and they get dinged for non-compliance charges, which is apparently what happened for the company to go to shit anyway. I feel a bit for the new person to be hired though. But seeing as we're on the petty revenge subreddit, there's another one from JLaw118 who says, I quit my job of 6 years just to prove to senior management how useless and incompetent my manager was. And it worked. I started my last job in 2017. I was a part-time warehouse worker who over a few years was promoted into a transport and admin/management role. Myself and another colleague ran our department between us, only really reporting to our then line manager if we needed support with any part of our job, or time off, etc. But other than that, he trusted us completely to run things. It wasn't without its stressful days, but we had a really good thing going. Then in 2021, the business made some changes, moved our then line manager onto different departments and got a new designated manager just to manage us two and our department. We were naturally quite bitter about it, but nevertheless thought we'd give him a chance. He turned out to be an absolute control freak and a bully, but he was strange. He could be very supportive one minute and a manipulative bully the next. He loved poking fun out of the fact that I had a car accident last year. He loved solely targeting me for the bad jobs and loved causing trouble between me and other colleagues. Then in March this year, my girlfriend fell ill whilst pregnant and was forced to give birth to our son 6 weeks prematurely. It was quite an awful, traumatic time, and I ended up having 3 weeks off work. When I returned, I had a mountain of work to catch up on that nobody covered in my absence, followed by me trying to catch up on it, and my manager pulling me away to do other projects for him, when his other 2 staff members weren't doing anything. Then when my work was late, it was forever kicking off at me that I couldn't manage my time properly, etc, etc. And in May, he made a major mistake, and he pinned the blame on me for it. It caused issues between me and 2 colleagues I had to work closely with, and I was threatened with disciplinary action. And I just got thinking to myself, without me running his department, he is nothing. Without me, he wouldn't have a job. Without me, he wouldn't be able to explain what was going on with his department to senior management. So I ran his department for him on half of his salary. He takes all the glory and we get all of the grief. I had one last run-in with him over this mistake he had made and handed my formal notice in to him the following day. It was funny over those 4 weeks of serving my notice, just watching him slowly take over my responsibilities and struggling with them. Those responsibilities that he often told me, I don't even know what you do during the day. He had to then do the horrible jobs he used to pile on me. And on my final day in June, I told my fellow colleague that I'll give him 3 months before he either quits or gets fired. Within the first few weeks, the department massively failed their monthly audit, which sparked the attention of company directors, who were sent in to investigate as this never happened before. Then bang on a month later, I was on holiday and had one of the senior managers ringing me and texting me asking for passwords for systems, as my line manager had gone on holiday and hadn't organized everything. I ignored him because I didn't work there anymore and I was on holiday. And he kept continuing to make mistakes. He hadn't ordered essential items, which caused trouble for the site. He didn't have a clue about the job in question, as I originally was out to prove. Then a month after that, he was suspended from his duties pending further investigation, as management finally realized he couldn't do his job in question. A month after that, management claimed he quit with immediate effect. I think he was fired. But either way, my 3 months prediction was right, and he couldn't run that shift without me. It really is petty revenge quitting a job to prove a point, but it proved the point. Good riddance. I now run my own business and have a much better work-life balance, earning more than I ever could have dreamed of in that place, and life is fantastic. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Did you ever have a incompetent manager or supervisor, and how did you deal with that? Did you just quit, or did you go about it in the same way as OP? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being involved, truly. Hopefully, I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love.